when you've struck out 3 times, definitely frustrations brewing.
And I do like that about umpires when they're willing to let players voice their case. You know what I mean? I think that it's important that, players need to respect umpires, but when you have a call that's borderline or maybe you're not sure about, you have to make the decision, and a player's not going to like that, and you'll have to sort of deal with the consequence of it. And so I at least respect Machado for not, acting rashly and throwing Johnson out of this ball game.
Yeah, I saw a clip today in the big leagues. Someone got tossed. They didn't agree with the call, and they just kind of said one word to the umpire and got thrown out of the game. And I feel like you got to have a little bit of a longer leash than that. I mean, if they say something obscene, then yes, go ahead and toss them out. But you do have to let them say their case and let their voice be heard.
Moran lines that one, had the green light 3-0, and he'll get a base hit as a result. So Colby Moran with a 2-out single into right field. Pretty good day for him. He's reached base 3 times, couple of walks as well as that single. So it's his first hit of the summer. So makes him a little extra happy.
Jimmy Sakar up now, yet to record his first Riptide hit of the summer.
Sakar, he's done in every at-bat so far, signing something down in the dirt next to home plate. And runner on first with 2 outs for Zakar. Had, as we said, a bit of a rough day. He'll take ball 1 there. 2 strikeouts and then a pop out to first baseman Connor Gomez. So should be trying to, get his first hit of the day, first hit of the summer, and he'll take on the inside corner 1-1. It looked pretty similar to the pitch that we saw Johnson get called out on.
Yeah, no argument from Zakar there, I'm sure. It's in the back of his mind, though.
Well, I'm sure for Zakar, as he swings and misses, it kind of is one of those where if you argue really strongly as the catcher while you're hitting, it makes it a little harder to win that argument when your pitcher puts that ball there. So I think if you're Zakar, you're sort of willing to take a bit of a wider strike zone and say, hey, just give us that pitch when we're behind the plate. Zakar will swing and miss. He's down for the 3rd time today, and we'll head to the top of the 8th. But before that, a word from our sponsor, Experian.
Experian is your BFF, your big financial friend, big enough to have the resources and knowledge that have an impact, personal enough to help with what's best for only you. No matter where you are in your financial journey, your big financial friend is a trustworthy companion by your side. Wherever you are in your financial journey, your big financial friend is ready to help you navigate the smartest way to reach all your personal financial goals with solutions you can trust. This is Experian, your big financial friend for life. For more information, visit Experian.com.
Top of the 8th here at Great Park. New pitcher for the Riptide is Nathan Hellman, as Mike Ersbomber finishes day 4 innings, 1 hit, no runs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. He'll leave this game in line for the win. He did a fantastic job out there.
Yeah, Ersbomber looked really good. His first action against college hitting as he just finished up in high school, and it looked like he's been there for years. He looked really comfortable, only allowed a base runner or two, and just didn't really have any adversity to work through at all.
This is Hellman's second appearance of the season. He just worked a third of an inning, struck out the only batter he faced 2 nights ago.
And Hellman out of Kennesaw State, where he pitched to 20 2/3 innings, but not a great ERA, 7.84, so he'll look to have a better summer here for the Riptide.
It's mostly a 2-pitch pitcher, fastball, curveball. He does mix a changeup in there, but says it's a pretty rarely used pitch as he fires the fastball for a strike. JoJo Roman, the 7-hitter, so 7-8-9 up for the Waves, as the Riptide are 6 outs away from win number 1 of the new year. That one, he did not go, says first base umpire. So tough one there, because it kind of looked like Roman almost called himself out. He had sort of walked out and was getting ready to go back to the dugout, but it's a ball, so 2-2 count.
Wonder what Luke Johnson thinks of that.
Yeah, so apparently we did have some technical issues last time. We missed the first 2 outs of the bottom of the 7th. Jonathan Rodriguez flew to center, so that one skips in. And then Luke Johnson was called out on strikes for the second time. And after his first one, he had a disagreement with home plate umpire Benito Machado. And I think disagreement would be the polite way to say what they had. I think a shouting match would be a more accurate one. So Johnson, though, was able to stay in the ball game. He's still over at third base. 3-2 swung on and missed. Foul tip into the catcher's mitt, and that's a 4th straight strikeout by Riptide pitching. The first from Hellman.
They've looked really, really good today. They struggled last night, obviously gave up those 8 runs and were pretty wild, and today they've looked really, really good, especially Ersbomber out of the bullpen.
Now, Van Ness sort of danced his way out of trouble the whole time through. He had 4 hits in 3 innings, but Ersbomber just gave up that 1 hit, and obviously another strikeout here from Hellman as he begins his day. Brendan DeHondo up here in his 3rd at-bat. He tripled and scored the only run of the day for the Waves. His first time up, and grounded back to Ersbomber, who was pitching in his 2nd at-bat, behind 0-1 in the count here. When it bounces in, we've seen that a couple times now from Hellman.
And I think the Riptide did a really good job of kind of limiting the damage after that DeHondo triple. It probably shouldn't have been a triple with how Jonathan Rodriguez played it in left field, but nonetheless it was. And then he came around to score a couple batters later. And since then, the offense for the Waves just hasn't really done much since then. So they faced adversity early and then dealt with it and haven't had to deal with it again. So really good job out of this Riptide pitching staff.
Well, do you want to know how many batters have reached base since that last triple?
How many?
It's 2. It's a infield single and a walk that was erased by a double play. So since that triple, Riptide pitchers have faced just 1 more than the minimum. So I think it's been a really good bounce-back performance from a Riptide pitching staff that struggled yesterday.
Yeah, and I'm sure Coach Evans loves that. The pitching wasn't great the first couple games, but they did enough to win the games, and the offense let them down. And then yesterday they just completely unraveled against a Philippines team that wasn't the greatest offense, but today they really look like a full team, both pitching and hitting today for the first time all summer.
Hellman's got a full count to deal with here for the 2nd straight batter. He struck out Roman on the full count last time. We'll see if he can do the same to DeHondo. One is fouled off to the right side over the Waves duckout. So we'll do it all again on 3-2. Behind Hellman in the Riptide bullpen today is Morrissey and Nieto. So we'll see if Hellman's tasked to get these last 5 outs or if there's another wrinkle coming out of the Riptide bullpen. But right now, not much action going on.
Yeah, each a different-handed. Morrissey the lefty and
That one catches the outside corner. A fifth straight strikeout from Riptide pitching. DeHondo goes down looking.
Yeah, strikeouts not an issue for this Riptide pitching staff. We saw on opening day against the Bombers, they struck out 16 despite the loss. So definitely a big strikeout numbers out of this pitching staff for Coach Evans.
Willed Holstetter stoles into the batter's box here. He's 0 for 2 so far. Ground out to shortstop and a fly out to left field. Just misses away. And Hostetter's got quite the mustache, I can say. I mean, really growing it out. It reminds me a bit of Siniceros in the Riptide bullpen.
Yeah, it's good. Good mustache on there. I could never grow one. I tried once. It did not look as good as Will Hostetter's, but some people just have it and others don't.
I still believe that a mustache is in my future. I can't grow one yet, but one's on the way, I'm sure. So the count evens at 1.
I think it elevates your baseball skills a little bit if you have a mustache, but that's just my opinion.
And there, 1-2 is. We'll see if Hellman can work for a second straight inning with 3 punch-outs. The 1-2 to Hostetter from Hellman. One skips in. If we were playing cricket, that would have been perfectly placed into the strike zone, but unfortunately baseball is more popular here, so it'll be a ball instead. Count goes to 2-2.
Yeah, I'd love to see them play baseball with a cricket bat. I'd wonder how that would go.
You can see a lot of home runs. They're pretty wide. One is fouled off to the right side as the battle continues. I don't really understand the rules of cricket, but every time I watch it, it seems really exciting.
Yeah, it's a very long game. It's a lot of intricacies. I know it's similar to baseball in some ways, but definitely a very different sport and something that has not yet caught on much here in the States.
That one flared off to the right side. Moran gave it a look, but it was always going to be not a play that he could make.
Although, interestingly enough, the last Cricket World Cup that was had, the U.S. actually won that tournament, so seems to potentially be growing here.
That one bounces in again. Hostetter gave it a look, but decides not to. Zakar asked for a check with his head there. He sort of gave a head fake to the home plate umpire, but no dice. Hostetter held up. So count runs full for the third straight hitter. First 2 went down on strikes. See if Hostetter can avoid the same fate. That one is sent out to Castillo, thrown to first in time. So we'll head to the bottom of the 8th here. Riptide lead this ball game 5-1. We're here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Riptide leading this game 5-1. New pitcher for the Waves, Anthony Jojola, the right-hander out of Cypress JUCO, and he's facing his teammate Justin Tiller. So, bit of a inter-squad rivalry here. Jojola also went to Cypress High School as well as Cypress, the junior college.
Jojola, 16 2/3 for the Chargers to an 8.64 ERA and had 19 walks in those 16 2/3. So pretty wild pitcher, but did rack up a save. So could be a back-end bullpen piece for this Waves team going forward.
Speaking of walks, we saw Tiller work one his last time up. He came around to score. He's also driven in a run via a sac fly. Well, he popped out. So he's 0 for 1, but two productive at-bats, an RBI, a run. Pretty good day for the DH, who is still hitless this summer, but up 2-1 in the count here against his college teammate.
This is a count.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of a leadoff base runners these last couple innings for the Riptide. Be one of those, which is
The first man of the inning reaches, and that'll turn it over to the bottom here. Coming up the plate here, who at-bats, great line drives. I'd love to see him put one in the outfield, just get a base hit.
probably the best 0 for 3 day that you can have is hit the ball hard 3 straight times to the outfield, just nothing doing. If you can cash in here on what's been a good night despite the results.
For sure. So Montgomery ahead.
Tiller, not exactly the most fleet of foot over at first base, so we'll see if they continue the aggressiveness they showed earlier in the game, or if the 4-run lead, do you sort of calm down a little bit on the base pass? He does go. That one lined through a vacated right side. Reed Montgomery singles to right. Tiller was on the move. He'll go first to third, and then on an errant throw, Montgomery will move up to second. So runners in second and third, and it is good to see Reed Montgomery get one into the outfield today. He's put probably the worst hit ball he's hit all day. That one was on the ground, but it went through the right side and base hit.
Yeah, he definitely earned that one after his hard outs this last time. And that makes me wonder if that was a hit and run or if it just happened to be a hit at the same time as Tiller stole, but it worked out for the Riptide.
Bradley Navarro, who had the big swing, the home run earlier in this ball game. He's also walked, singled, stole a base, scored a couple runs. So it's been a great day for Navarro, and with 2 men in scoring position, a great chance to add on to an already impressive performance. The Riptide look to really put this game away, secure their first win of the season. It would certainly be a welcome sight for, I think, what's the biggest crowd we've seen all season.
Yeah, it seems to be a pretty good crowd here tonight at the Great Park, and they were fortunate enough to get some cheaper beer after the beer batter struck out, so good day all around for the Riptide fans.
First pitch to Navarro is well inside. He lifts his arms out of the way, so
1-0 to Navarro. Bring home a couple runs for the Riptide.
And we talk about that word slam distance, and this game still not only a 4 lead, but if Navarro can cash in here, even with just a sacrifice fly, you feel like you're a bit more comfortable if you're
Bounces in. Deck. First base is open. It looks like there's going to be a meeting on the mound here as Jojola sort of struggled to find it to come into this ball game. He walked Tiller and then the single through the right side for Montgomery. What do you think they're talking about here on the mound for Jojola?
I think they're talking about the fact that he has a 2-run lead, but if Navarro can cash in here, even with just a sacrifice fly, you feel like you're a bit more comfortable if you're the Riptide.
What do you think they're talking about here on the mound for Jojola?
I think with nobody out and the infield back in the 8th inning in a 4-run game, I think you're definitely talking about going for the strikeout. You are down 2-0 to a guy that hit a home run a few at-bats ago, so I think they're definitely talking about throwing pitches that are close enough to swing, but not in an area where Navarro can drive one into the outfield for a couple runs. So I think the strategy here is to get a strikeout or to throw a pitch that induces weak contact, like a pop-up or a ground ball that's not going to score a run.
Easier said than done, of course, with the talented Navarro at the plate, but we'll see if Jojola can execute.
Of course, pitching not easy, and saying something and doing it are two different things.
Well, no, swung and missed, so perhaps they listened to the why don't you just strike him out approach, which, I mean, if I'd thought of that, I think I'd be on the field today rather than up here in the broadcast booth.
Navarro tried to add another home run to his line with that swing, and I don't blame him. No outs, why not? But Jojola the winner on that one.
You earn the right to swing away freely, but 2-1 count, still ahead. Fouled back, so count is even now as Navarro will take a moment to recollect himself, adjust his batting gloves.
Then I think Jojola's kind of going with what I talked about. He's thrown 2 strikes in a row, but to places where Navarro unable to make good enough contact. We'll see if he goes to an off-speed pitch that gets Navarro to chase.
The 2-2. Well inside. Navarro gets his hands out of the way for the second time in this at-bat, and so counts full.
If you're Jojola here, there is a base open, so you don't have to throw Navarro a good pitch, and I wouldn't blame him if he sent him there. Although Castelli on deck has been on base 4 times.
He will do just that, and so the bases will be loaded for Castelli, who, as you said, is yet to be retired so far.
Yeah, Castelli, 3 singles today and a walk, including an RBI and a couple stolen bases to his line. So he's had a pretty good day and a chance to make it an even more pretty good day right here.
Of course, bases loaded here, no outs, so definitely a chance for the Riptide to really blow this game and make it no sweat for the top of the 9th. That one well inside to Castelli.
I like how Castelli takes pitches. He always looks ready to swing and just keeps that bat back on balls. I really like that approach.
Well, you see different approaches from different guys. You know, Luis Ariz is a guy who's a great hitter, batting champion several times over, but he likes to sort of do those statue takes. Don't see that at all from Castelli, who's ahead 2 on the count here. So I think that's what makes hitting so beautiful, is that it's different strokes for different folks, and really there's no right way to do it.
Yeah, Castelli looks ready to hit every pitch and then has the control to not offer it a pitch he doesn't want to.
Already walked once today, had 2 on the count. He'll swing and miss that one though, so 2-1.
Tried to double the lead with that swing.
Talked about, of course, right at the edge of slam range, so the aforementioned grand slam would put you twice as far out of it. Castelli, much like Navarro, was ahead 2 on the count and then chose to exercise his big swing.
Castelli does have some power. Hit 6 home runs for Cal Baptist.
He also led Saddleback with 6 home runs in his freshman year, so a lot of pop in his bat. He's up 3-1 in the count, so I mean, if there's a time to swing away, 3-1, bases loaded, this is it right here.
Yeah, Jojola has to come into the zone here, and if I'm Castelli, I'm sitting on it, taking a big swing.
Will miss away instead, and the Riptide walk home a run. Ben Castelli forces home Justin Tiller. Bases remain loaded with no outs here, and it's a 6-1 Riptide lead now.
There is some action in the Waves bullpen, so we'll see how long of a leash Jojola has with still nobody out here.
Interesting to see it. At what point manager Jake Rico decides this game's sort of out of hand and you're just going to let Jojola eat this versus you're going to still try and compete to win this game. Camden Sauce up to the plate for the Riptide now. saw so far today is hitless. He does have a walk, but 3 flyouts as well on his ledger today.
Yeah, big spot for him. He had a big hit last night as a pinch hitter and then got on base to start that 9th inning rally that came up short, so he has the ability to do it.
That one, though, is flared high into center field. Sisitko comes in. We'll see if it's deep enough. They are going to test Sisitko's arm, and the throw is cut off. So Montgomery, speedy from third. He'll come around to score, and the Riptide lead this game 7-1. 1 out now in the inning.
Another cutoff there from Connor Gomez on a throw that I thought could have had a chance to make it to the plate. Obviously, you don't want to get this further away than it is, but I thought might as well let that ball go and see what happens.
No, Montgomery's pretty speedy. There's a reason why he plays center field. So I think Montgomery, was in there regardless. I thought the one earlier in the game on Taylor's sac fly was certainly a lot closer of a play, but still a run for the Riptide. So 7-1 lead now as Jonathan Rodriguez comes to the plate.
Rodriguez will fly out to center his last at-bat, but does have a single today.
Certainly love to see Luke Johnson, who's on the on-deck circle, get a chance. He's struck out 3 times today and would love to, I'm sure, add a couple of RBIs and make this day a little more enjoyable for him personally. That ball will skip away briefly, but the Riptide decide not to press their luck. You're up 6 runs, no reason to run into an out.
Yeah, especially at third base, you never want to make those outs there. So smart by Navarro. It seemed like he had a decent read on it, but with this point in the game, no need to be overzealous.
Well, I think that, though, if you're allowed to make an out at third base, it is the second one, right? You say you want to make the first or the last out, but I guess the middle one is the best one of the 3.
Yeah, I mean, you never want to make an out as a runner, but
You never want to make it out at any base,
they do say that the first and last out at third are the bad ones, so I guess it's okay to get out for the second one at third, but never want to get out.
When you're up 7-1, you can sort of do whatever you want. It's nice to see this Riptide team who looks like they're having fun for the first time this summer.
Yeah, like I said earlier, this feels like the first complete game that they've played as a team. The pitching working, the offense working, the defense also has been really good tonight, so.
One is chopped to the right side. Going to be a tough play, and it will not be made. Booted there by Connor Gomez. He was trying to flip to Jojola, but instead it'll be bases will come loaded again. They're going to rule that one an error, which I think is fair. It was going to be a tough play to get Rodriguez, but error on Connor Gomez.
Yeah, I agree with that. Rodriguez, not the fastest runner. It definitely would have been a tough play for Gomez, but I think it's a play that should have been made, and I think the error is the appropriate call there.
So Luke Johnson steps to the plate. He struck out his last 3 times, though the last 2, and he sends that one on the first pitch out to left field. Should be deep enough to score. Navarro, and the ball is dropped, so no need for Navarro to tag up. The Riptide will score the run. Everyone moves up 90 feet as that ball was just straight up dropped by Jojo Roman. He was trying to gear up for a throw home and instead just lost the ball and didn't make the catch.
Yeah, back-to-back errors for the Waves, and it's kind of coming apart now. They haven't played the best game, but they've still been in it the whole time, and now the Riptide are finally pulling away, and the Waves not responding well, as it looks like we might have a pitching change here.
Jola's day is indeed done. We'll be back after this. Riptide up 8-1.
1.
As we return here, David Gordon II on the mound here for the Waves. This one's getting a bit ugly now. Riptide up 8-1. Bases are still loaded. Sure, back-to-back errors. There's just one out. If both those plays are made, you'd be out of this inning, probably with just a 7-1 score. But instead, 8-1 and the chance for the Riptide to really pour it on here.
And Moran, a dangerous hitter at the plate. He's been on base 3 times today as he takes a big rip there. And good thing if you're David Gordon coming into the spot, you are 1 pitch away from getting out of it.
That's true. Double play ball in play. And Moran, not the most fleet of foot, so he could certainly be retired if you got a grounder. Turn 2. Colby loves Happy Gilmore, which is a great film. Are you excited for the sequel that's coming out?
Yeah, I am. I saw the star-studded cast, a lot of big names in that movie, and I love the original Happy Gilmore. I think Adam Sandler is very good at what he does, so I am excited to see the second one on Netflix soon.
Moran lines that one back into center field. It will be 2 runs for the Riptide. Ben Castelli came around to score. Rodriguez in. Ball will bounce and get away. Riptide runners will hold. So 10 runs now for the Riptide as they've scored 5 this frame. So Moran singled up into center field. Johnson moved up to second. Rodriguez came around to score, as well as Castelli. So that'll bring up Jimmy Zakar. He's just about the only Riptide player who hasn't had anything going on. He's the only Riptide not to reach base in this game. He struck out 3 times, popped out. So looking, if he can get a hit, then really everyone will have had a chance to party.
Yeah, Zakar, not a great day from him in his Riptide, not debut, but the first game of his Riptide summer. So I think he's definitely looking to change his fortunes here.
Zakar will foul his first pitch that he sees off to the right side. So Riptide 10 runs on 9 hits today, so more runs than hits, and I think that's a testament to both the defensive miscues by the Waves as well as great discipline. A lot of walks so far in this game for the Riptide.
Yeah, after scoring 3 runs for the first 2 games of the season, they've scored 17 the last 2 nights, so offense is definitely starting to click here.
Zakar readies himself for the 1-1. He swings and misses there, so 1-2 count now. Zakar really hasn't had continuous at-bats at any point in his career, except for in 2024 while he was at Irvine Valley College. He did blast 3 home runs there, 274 that year. Takes that one down, so 2-2 count.
Yeah, and only 2 at-bats for UCSB this past season, and he finds himself in the portal once again looking for a new home, so maybe somewhere where he can get consistent playing time.
Zakar takes that one away, so count is full. Provided Zakar does not hit into a level play here, the Riptide will bat around for the first time this season with Justin Tiller, who started this inning off with a walk on deck. Zakar's 3-2 taken away, so bases are reloaded. Jimmy Zakar reaches base, so everyone for the Riptide has reached base today. Zakar and Johnson are the only 2 who don't have base hits.
First time batting around this year for the Riptide, and you got the bases loaded for a guy that can really punish you at the plate, Justin Tiller.
For sure. Tiller steps into the batter's box here, gives Gordon, and I think at this point in the ball game for the Riptide, everyone's sort of just trying to have some fun, put together some good swings. So take that one inside.
Tiller, the 8th hitter. Montgomery, the 9th hitter on deck. I wonder if the lineup does turn over in this inning, if we'll see some pinch hitters with a lead this big, as there probably won't be a bottom of the 9th.
bounces in. So 2-0 count Tiller. Gordon has struggled to find the strike zone so far.
Yeah, it hasn't been a great night for this Waves pitching staff. Outside of Steven Deakins, who had a scoreless inning, the rest of the staff has struggled.
That one is flared out into left field and it'll drop, so be another run for the Riptide here. Luke Johnson comes around to score. Taylor drives in the run, so an 11-1 Riptide lead here.
Yeah, good piece of hitting there from Tiller. He kind of got jammed, but strong enough to hit that one into left field, and this inning just continues to keep going, and it looks like my question has been answered as Bradley Navarro steps out into the on-deck circle, so lineup will remain the same, at least through Navarro.
11th different hitter here steps into the plate for Riptide, and still just one out in this inning. So Montgomery readies himself. I think at this point, no action in the bullpen. Montgomery flies that one at the left field. We'll see if the catch is made this time. It is. Runner tags from third, and Moran will score. So lead grows now to 12-1. Montgomery sacrifice fly. Second out of the inning, no other advances there. Bradley Navarro strolls to the plate here for the Riptide. Be his 6th trip to the plate. He's so far 2 for 3. The home run, single, couple of walks, 3 runs scored. So it's just been quite the day for Navarro, who has really excelled all summer long and especially tonight.
You know, a 7-run inning for the Riptide have just poured it on. Everybody's gotten to the plate, and everyone's pretty much done something to contribute in one way or the other in this inning. And I think if you're Coach Evans, you love to see that, the offense really coming together fully for the first time.
No, for sure. It's definitely a good sight to see the Riptide. We're ahead in this game 5-1 before the 8th inning started. 7 runs here in this frame to put this game over. We'll see if the Riptide use a position player or a pitcher in the top of the 9th to close this one out. Up to 10 runs. You certainly have the luxury to save an arm if you'd like to.
For sure. It's interesting to see what Coach Evans does. Maybe he'll put himself out there, the former minor league pitcher, but they might just give it to Hellman to finish up the game.
Navarro down 1-2 in the count. Take that one down. So count evens at 2. Inning feels like it's gone on forever because it has. It's been about a half-hour long inning for the Riptide. 2 defensive errors for San Diego in the frame. It was lifted out to left field, and as long as the play is made, it should end the frame. Diving play is made. So the frame comes to an end on a diving play by Roman. But the Riptide score 7 times, 12-1 lead headed to the ninth.
So we begin the top of the 9th inning here. New pitcher for the Riptide is Dylan Nieto, and he'll face a pinch hitter, Matthew Thomas.
Matthew Thomas out of the University of California up in Berkeley, although he has entered the transfer portal looking for a new home.
He's actually a member of the Riptide last summer, so bit of a homecoming game for him here as that ball catches the outside corner.
Also a high school classmate of fellow broadcaster Aiden Pham, who's on radio tonight, so they were chatting before the game.
Nieto bounces that one in. Nieto's on a 10-day contract here with the Riptide. He worked on opening day, third of an inning, allowed a hit, and struck out a batter. Though that hit, he came into the game with the bases loaded, so that hit did score a couple runs, but neither of those charged to Nieto. It's a 5-pitch mix for the right-hander, a fastball and sinker right about 90. And then he has a slider, changeup, and curveball as his off-speed pitches.
Yeah, Nieto, obviously, like you said, on that 10-day contract, so really looking to prove himself to Coach Evans and this Riptide pitching staff and hopefully extend his stay this summer in Irvine.
And this is a great spot for him to do this, just that. Up 11 runs in this game as that one's flared off to the right side. He can have pretty much as long as a leash as Coach Evans would like, and hopefully the Riptide should be able to put their first win of the season on ice.
Matthew Thomas, the second Division I athlete of the Thomas family. His father, Milton, played football down at San Diego State.
Go Aztecs. One misses down, so count is full for Nieto. Nieto is at Saddleback College most recently, though as you said, he's in the transfer portal. The 3-2 strikes him out, so Nieto has his first punch out of the game, though second of the season.
And if you're Dylan Nieto, not a lot of pressure here. It's a 12-1 game, so you can afford to miss a little bit in the strike zone, although there is some pressure on him because of that 10-day contract. He wants to pitch well, and he is in the transfer portal. He wants to impress in front of some of the scouts that may be in attendance this summer, so definitely some pressure on him, although not today.
That one lined into right field, and looks like Navarro did enough to hold Jacob Hudson to a single. Hudson's going to be greeted by the first base coach over there, Devin the Hammer Lindenman. So quite the nickname there for Lindenman, who will give a high five to Hudson, who's 1 for 3 today now after that base hit.
I wonder where that nickname comes from. Maybe his curveball back in the day.
Brendan Shanahan steps to the plate here. He's had a pretty rough day out there. 2 grounded into double plays, both the old 5-4-3 around the horn, and then he sandwiched a fly out to center in between that. If he grounds into his 3rd double play, it'll end the ball game here.
Never good to contribute 5 outs and 3 at-bats, so Shanahan looking for something a little better here.
Lined, and it will be just that. Make it 7 outs in 4 at-bats. The Riptide win their first game of the season, 12-1. Dylan Nieto closes it out. Just a fantastic offensive performance here for the Riptide. I mean, there's just so many players who did an awesome job today.
Yeah, all around. I've been saying it the whole game, but really the first complete game for the Riptide. They really did it all on 3 fronts. The defense was really good today. Rodriguez a little shaky in left field, but didn't really matter that much. The pitching was phenomenal, especially Mike Ersparmer, who went 4 innings and got the win. The offense really put it together, those 12 runs. And if you're Jake Evans, if you're Coach Evans, your first win of the season, everything kind of clicked, and I think you can look forward to the rest of the summer.
First win as a head coach as well for Coach Evans. As you said, Mike Ersparmer gets the win for the Riptide. Caleb Fiskus, the starter for San Diego, gets the loss. No save, obviously, in the 12-1 ball game. The totals for the Riptide, 12 runs on 10 hits, no errors, and 9 left on base. For the Waves, it was just 2 left on base, 1 run, 6 hits, and 2 errors. Let the Riptide score a bunch of runs in the 8th inning. For Hugh Fitzwood and Sam Evans here at the Great Park, we'll see you on Tuesday. So the Riptide will take the field at 6 p.m. with a win in the record books. Thank you for watching.